Hey everybody, this is Marshall Townsend. Welcome back to the Growing Leadership blog. Tonight is Friday night, and I'm going to be doing leadership game night again. Last week we did this where I rolled the dice and I drew a card from the leadership game and then had to respond to that card live on the air. Very exciting. But before we do that tonight, let's take a moment and look at the leadership game. It's one of the most powerful tools I have in my kit bag when I'm coaching and working with a company, either small or large. And the way it works is you get 10 to 12 members of that company around a table. It's a card game. It's called the leadership game. It's from the John Maxwell Company. And only those members that are members of the John Maxwell Company that are in mentorship or at the executive director level can have access to the game. The game is based on a series of cards, which are laid out on the table. And each of the cards has either a question or a statement or an action that has to be performed on the back of it. And the players roll a dice to find out what card is being played next. There's a couple of versions of the game. There's the leadership game, which is the one that I've got laid out in front of me right now. We also have one for sales that I use when I work with sales teams. I also have the other one that I like to work with a company is the communications game. And then the last one, which is always fun, which is the team game. So I have all four of those available to me, kind of in my kit bag to be able to work with a company. It also goes hand in hand with the DISC assessment, either before or after the game, to see how everybody's actions and reactions during the course of the game fit their DISC profiles. And that's important within a company, that making sure they've got the right people hired, that the people are in the right jobs, and that the team they're building is going in the right directions. So for an example, what we'll do is we'll roll the dice here today and we'll draw a card from the stack. Now, in the leadership game, the stack of cards go from leaders to organization to personal leadership to followers. And then there's some other cards. There's trigger cards, etc., that are available to us. So what I'll do, roll the dice, and then we'll draw a card. And I roll the dice, and I got blue. Now, that's not good at this moment in time. The blue card is really designed that after you've done 5 turns or you've gone all the way around the table with everybody getting a chance to respond, then the blue card becomes active. And if you roll the blue card, then it's a card that talks about things that have happened at the table already. So it's kind of a look back. So in this case, I drew from the stack the top blue card. It says, share a response to the following question or statement with the rest of the team. Trigger. What can you do today to achieve one of our objectives? What can you do today to achieve one of our objectives? Now, this would be a question that put to the table, especially after, through the course of the game, they had begun to identify things that they need to work on, what their next goals were, etc. That card's a powerful card. So now the people at the table can come together and say, this is our next step. But I'm not going to play that card. So let's see if we can get another card to the table. Okay. Oh, I got a leader card, brown or red. So here goes. Ready? Okay. Players pair up to discuss the following question or statement. Write your response. Then one player from each pair reports to the rest of the team. Today's growth gives me potential. Earl Nightingale says if a person will spend 1 hour a day on the same subject for 5 years, that person will be an expert on that subject. Question. What are you currently becoming an expert at? Where would you like to spend more focus? And it comes out of John Maxwell's book, Today's Matters, chapter 14. And that is an interesting question for me to respond to, because I read that. I read about the Earl Nightingale talking about experts, but I also always reflect back on Henry Ford, who said, wherever I find an expert in my organization, I fire them, because being an expert is the number one excuse for not growing and getting better. And isn't that true? That once you become an expert, you don't have to get better. I can just coast from here on out. So I've always looked at it that way in my organizations and companies. So yeah, okay, understand. What am I going to get? So let's reread that. What do I need to get better at right now? What do I need to work on? And I think really one is this. I am training myself to be able to do live videos, to be able to do the podcasts, the blogs, and using different software. This time I'm using StreamYard, which I'm starting to like. It's really a simple system. Starting to like that. And it allows me to use the backdrop behind me, which some of the other systems don't. I like Zoom, but also I like that I can go live with StreamYard to YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook simultaneously with a paid account. So I'm liking that. So I'm building that, but I'm just going to reflect here for a second. I need to work on time management. Time management. Now listen to me. I don't believe in time management, all right? Because management means I'm not going anywhere. And you can't manage time. Time is set. You can't manage it. But you can lead yourself in how you use yourself in the time you have. It's how you put yourself to work. So that's what instead of the common term is time management. But I want to start building and creating more workshops, creating more scripts, creating more material that I can share with you and add value to you. That means I have to discipline myself more to be able to sit down. If that's going to be in the early morning or even later at night, I got to figure out which one works best for me. But that's what I'm going to do is commit that time to be able to build the workshops, build the worksheets that go with the workshops, the scripts that go with the workshops, and take all the material that I've been using for 40 plus years, training leaders, being a leader, training leaders, and start sharing that with you, all my content. So that would be my response to that. Now, and I can say, what was the question? What are you currently becoming an expert in? What would you like to spend more focus on? That's a powerful question. Now, consider that. So take that question, which I just read, and imagine sitting around a table at your workplace with your employees and having an opportunity to have me sit there with them and ask that question. Now, here's one of the things I learned. I could sit there and ask that question of the group without the game, right? I could take all the questions out of the game and line them up and then start asking you, one right after the other, the questions. We're not going to go anywhere. But what I have learned is when we're playing a game, we're rolling a dice. We got the timer out there. We got the different colored cards. We've got facilitators cards saying awesome edification. We've got player cards, giving points to each other for how well they said something or how well they interacted. All of that happening at the table, people become engaged. They start cross-talking. They start building bonding at the table at a level that you cannot do in just a simple sit-down table discussion or even a lunch and learn or even a mastermind. Mastermind's close to this, but this is a mastermind workshop on steroids. So I highly recommend, if you do know a John Maxwell team member, reach out to them and see if they've got the leadership game available to them. If not, reach out to me. I can set up, and we can do this online even. We can do this online in a workshop using online platforms. Though it's a lot of fun when you can get everybody together. But I know where we are in the world right now. So that's tonight. So tonight was an interesting question. I'd say, what are you currently becoming an expert in? Once again, thanks for tuning in, and come back tomorrow. We'll be on to episode 10. Have a good evening, everybody.